Welcome. My name is Maggie McGlynn, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. On behalf of our sponsors today, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and the Office of School Readiness, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, the North Carolina Partnership for Children, the North Carolina Child Care Coalition, Action for Children North Carolina, the North Carolina Pediatric Society, the North Carolina Justice Center, and FPG Child Development Institute, welcome to our forum, Preparing North Carolina for a Prosperous Future, Advancing Our Investment in Young Children. We are so glad that you're here today. The purpose of this gathering is to begin a dialogue on needed policies in our state that will preserve what's working to support our state's economic future and to invest in new strategies that have been proven successful. As you will hear from our speakers today, early childhood development is economic development. I'd like to recognize some very special guests today. First, Mike Arnold, Governor Perdue's Chief of Staff, is here representing Governor Perdue. We're so pleased to have you, Mike Arnold. I would also like to recognize Leslie Winner. Would you please stand? I've been in search of you this morning. Leslie? Well, Leslie is a former senator and currently the executive director of the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation. We are very grateful to the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation for providing funding to this important community conversation through the North Carolina Partnership for Children. Let's thank Leslie. I'd also like to acknowledge our state senators and state representatives that are here today. It is your leadership that has helped make North Carolina one of the leading states in the nation on behalf of young children. Please stand and let us applaud your leadership. State senators and state representatives. I know it's a busy day today, so we know you might need to slip out for some meetings later this morning. We also have several elected judges and local elected officials and superintendents who are with us today. Would you please stand? We'd like to thank you for your important leadership. Judges, local elected officials, and superintendents. Wonderful. Thank you all for being here. It is my pleasure to moderate your conversation with an exemplary panel of speakers today. While you will hear more about each of them as the program continues, allow me to introduce you to our speakers. First is Lanier Kanzler, the recently appointed Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Jack Shonkoff, our distinguished keynote speaker. Dick Clifford from the Frank Porter Graham Child Development Institute at UNC. Keith Crisco, our new Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Commerce. And Stephanie Fonhul, Executive Director of the North Carolina Partnership for Children. Thank you for being here today. So let me mention very briefly about our time together this morning. You should have all received a packet of information at registration, which has speaker information and background materials that you will definitely want to read. It also has contact information for follow-up because this is just the beginning of a conversation. There is also a page in particular, a beige handout, or actually no, it's on white. There's an example of policy ideas, but this beige page is a place that you can jot down some of your ideas because we know that you're going to be sparked today by the conversation and would like to hear your policy ideas. And there's also a white note card. As you listen to our keynote speaker, Jack Shonkoff, please feel free to jot down a question for him on that card to submit during the Q&A. We'll ask you to bring them to the center aisle and we'll collect those. While we can only answer a few of the questions today, the others will help inform our next steps in the process. And you will also have another opportunity to offer questions to him and our other speakers at the end of the session. Finally, while you are listening today, we anticipate that you will generate great policy ideas. That's what today is all about. We want to spark thinking, generate dialogue. So again, this page, the beige page that has a spot for your ideas, is something that we will absolutely ask you to jot down ideas as the day goes forward and submit those to us at the end of the session. And we'll remind you about that again.